We're rich. The tariffs don't mean anything. Microsoft and Meta killing it after hours, beating analyst expectations. I told you, the tariffs is just noise. There's nothing that indicates tariffs are going to bring down US stocks. No fundamentals. It's all just talk. And we proved it. Congratulations if you didn't sell. I actually helped someone manage their money and they sold out of everything a couple weeks ago because they were scared of tariffs. It's just ridiculous. So these are top gainers for the day. Regulus Therapeutics up 134%. Oddity Tech. Let's see if there's any big names. Wingstop, that's a pretty big name. 7 billion market cap, up 14%. Corvo was up 14% today. After hours, they were up like 15% after hours. But look at Microsoft, 8%. Do you realize how significant that is? I mean, it's a $3 trillion company. 8% is like the market cap for most countries. $240 billion jump. Let's see. Here's a spreadsheet. Let's see what's Microsoft trading at. They've really taken a hit, Microsoft, this year. They've come down a lot. So this exciting news, they're at 424. So they're up. They're finally up for the year because they opened the year at 419 and they're at 424. Let's see what Spider's at. This is my my spreadsheet. I keep track of the top stocks. So after hours, 559. So the market is still down overall. The market is down 5% since the opening of the year. On the first day of this year, 589 S&P 500. Now it's 559. But Berkshire, I'm telling you, follow me with Berkshire. Hey, Daryl, what's up? Berkshire, 800,000 for one share. Imagine owning a share of Berkshire. You'd have $800,000. I wonder what happened here. Oh, I put the A shares here. That's what happened. Okay, let me just mark this. So Berkshire's up 15% year to date. Microsoft is finally up year to date. Because you probably, let's see, 210 for Apple. So Apple's down 16% year to date. Meta and Microsoft, huge. Because if a $1 billion company goes up 20%, it's not a lot. I mean, percentage-wise, it's good, but in terms of like value, it doesn't move much. But when you have these companies with 3 trillion market cap go up 7%, it's huge. That's like probably the bottom 10% of the entire market is probably worth as much as Microsoft's after hours increase. Just what they increased after hours today. Meta is at 580. So Meta is down for the year. Let me just check my math. Yeah, so Meta is down 3% for the year. So they they brought back some of their losses. That's the thing. If a company reports good earnings, that doesn't mean a stock will go up, because of a lot of the stock price is already priced in. So people were expecting, in this case, people were expecting weak earnings from Microsoft and Meta because of tariffs. But what they got was good earnings. So they didn't even like those two companies, they didn't blow it out of the water. They've had better earnings in the past. It's just the fact that they didn't regress as everybody thought they would. It gives a sign to the market when you see companies like this go up or report good numbers. Let's look at what Meta earnings. Let's look at the numbers. Meta shares rise on stronger than expected revenue first quarter. So second quarter sales. Okay, that's second quarter. So that's the forecast. Meta increases 2025 capex. Their capex is $70 billion. Do you realize how much you can get for $70 billion? That's a big investment. Imagine you had a company, right? And part of your company was obviously you want to make sales, but also you were investing towards the future. So say 10% of your profit goes towards investments for the future, whatever that may be. Maybe buying other businesses or investing in new technology. That's what they're doing. But they did $70 billion. It's just a massive 20%. That's the problem. Like, I had Meta for a long time, and it used to be like us, because especially when Meta fell to, like, remember when it fell to 89? It used to be like 10% of my portfolio, but it went up like from 89 to like 600. It hit almost 600. So it's 6x. Plus so it went from like 8% of my portfolio to like 30% of my portfolio, just because it's such a big mover when a stock like that, and it moves the market. Like I said, it moves the needle because people follow. So shares rose as much as 5% on Wednesday after the company. I like looking at revenue. Revenue is top line, and revenue, you can't really alter it. There's really no accounting you can use to alter revenue. Revenue is revenue. It's pretty clean. Earnings, you have to kind of look beneath the hood of the car, because if earnings are high or low, it could be due to other things, like counting things. So you just want to look at it. That's why if people have asked me, this company, they had a loss for the year, but the stock still went up. And I say, because analysts know when you look at the income statement and if they have a loss, they have to strip out those non-cash items, like those asset impairments. But let's read what I'm chairman Microsoft. That's the thing. When you make so much money on a stock, like on a Meta or Microsoft, you have to like trim down and put into other things. I'm not a big trimmer. I actually wish I didn't diversify as much as I did, because I probably would have double or triple the amount of money I have. Because I was really big on Costco and Meta, but I diversified because whatever. First quarter sales rose 16%. They're a big company, and they're still doing double digits, which is amazing. Net income 35%. So net income went from 12 billion to 16, almost 17 billion, just one quarter. Second quarter sales 42 to 45 billion. This was in line with analysts' expectations, because that's how stocks move. They move on actual earnings and the forecast for the future. Meta said it lowered the range of its 2025 expenses. That's a good thing to lower expenses. It's still pretty high, 115 billion of expenses. They increased capex to 64 to 72 billion. The company's advertising revenue for the first quarter, they're pretty much all advertising revenue. That's all their business. I mean, they have revenue from other sources, but it's like 98% is advertising. They have Reality Labs, which is just kind of like the little brother who's annoying. Like, I don't even know why they have it anymore. Eventually they're gonna get rid of it, but I think they just like to have that. They're showing people that they're on AI bandwagon, but Reality Labs is just one thing they do. They're big on AI. They were doing AI before pretty much almost every other company did it. They changed the name of the company from Facebook to Meta because Zuckerberg saw the AI future, and he was going all in on it. And I'm telling people, a lot of people were saying, sell Facebook, because it was called Facebook at one point, the stock. It wasn't called Meta. They go, Zuckerberg's screwing things up. They're losing a lot of money. But all the hundreds of billions of dollars he invested in the metaverse, it's all coming back because now that's what everybody's doing. So it worked out. All the investments into the metaverse. He has a scalable platform. Let's see. Reality Labs. It's so funny. 400 million, which is nothing. That's the revenue for Reality Labs, and what's the revenue for the business? It's 42 billion for the entire business for the quarter. So that's 42 billion. That's what I'm not even shrinking it. And Reality Labs is 412 million. So of their entire revenue, it's only 1%, which is actually more than I thought it was going to be. It's slightly below 1%. I didn't even think it would be that high. So 1% of their revenue is Reality Labs. It's like, have you guys taken Marketing 101 in school? I remember I worked for Pepsi. I was a merchandiser. I learned from this one situation, So I just had to I went to college in Buffalo, so I had to go to supermarkets and bring the Pepsi and bring it up. They would deliver the Pepsi to the back of the store, and then I have to go to the back of the store, bring it up to the front, and make sure it's full. And I remember my very first weekend doing it. This is gonna sound crazy, but a 2-liter of Pepsi was 49 cents, and it was during Super Bowl weekend. And I had like this cart, like a dolly, full of. It must have been like 500 2-liters on the dolly. I would bring it to the like the area of the store. It had its own display area where they sold the Pepsi. And before I even got to the display area, so I can like take the racks of Pepsi and put it on put it in the area so people can buy it. Before I even got there, people were taking the Pepsi off the dolly and buying it at a supermarket. It was just like that's what I did for an 8-hour shift. I would go to the back, bring a dolly of Pepsi to the front of the store, unload it, go to the back for 8 hours. And I asked the guy, I go, how do they make money? The supermarket, why would they, why would they sell for 49 cents for a 2-liter? And he's like, it's a lost liter. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, they pay like 52 cents to us, to Pepsi, to buy it, and they're selling it for 49 cents. So they're losing 3 cents every single time. I was like, why would they do that? He's like, because they want to get people in the store at Super Bowl weekend, and people buy other things. That's how they make their money. So it's a loss leader, Reality Labs. So let's see what else. The Meta AI digital assistant has nearly 1 billion users. It's a lot of users. I mean, what's the world population? 7 billion? 8 billion. So that's 12.5% of the world is using their platform. It's a lot of people. So the Meta AI digital assistant has nearly 1 billion users. And using all their platforms, when you take Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, it's about 60% of the world. So that's why it's valued at these levels. That's why it's 1.4 trillion. I think it should be 10 trillion. This company. It's going to be the first company to hit 10 trillion. I worked at Safeway 45 years ago. First job. I once dropped a case of 2 liters. It split one of the. Yeah, Safeway is such a ripoff. So in Buffalo, I worked at Wegmans. I actually was a deli slicer at Wegmans. I had 2 jobs in college. I was always hustling. So by the time I graduated college, this was in the late 90s, I had like almost $10,000 saved up from all my side gigs. But when I did merchandising, this was at a Tops, and it was a huge supermarket. If anybody's from upstate New York, supermarkets are a big deal. I didn't realize, like, when I started working at Wegmans, I'm like, this place is amazing. It was like a carnival. It was so nice. They had all these display areas. They had so many different things to choose from. I never saw anything like it, because I'm from New York City, and supermarkets are big, but it's just, you just go in and go out. Nothing like special about it. But they kind of, I'm not just saying that, but Wegmans does it perfect. They're probably one of the best at running a supermarket. If anybody's from upstate New York, you know what I mean. Zuckerberg said that he envisions Meta AI as a place to show ads, and that the company could charge a premium version of the assistant. See, I love his vision. I mean, but he's so smart. He's so knowledgeable. I'm trying to even absorb a fraction of what he's saying. But you can't doubt him, because he saw this. He saw this AI Meta way before everybody else did. And I thought it was a bad idea when they changed the name of the company from Facebook to Meta. I didn't get it, but now it makes sense. And they're pretty 77,000 employees, so they're pretty sizable. They did lay off 5% of its workforce, which is part of running a business. Like, you grow and scale, and then you have to look at certain divisions, trim the fat, so to speak. I had to unscrew the cap to release the pressure. That's funny. Yeah, I have a lot of stories from working at the supermarket. It was a fun job. It was especially when you're in college, you get a lot of free deli meat, which was good. I would always make sure I was hungry when I got there, so I'd fill up on all the turkey and stuff. Who go to the metaverse? Well, I mean, it's kind of like the internet in the 90s when it started. Like, people were saying, what is this? What's the purpose of it? And now everybody's on it. But it's just more, it's more virtual. It's like AI, the internet, but AI version. Like, you're part of it. You have your own world. You physically can walk around, even though you're just sitting there the whole time. And other people are also doing that same thing. But I remember when the internet started, and it was porn porn was kind of popular, right? Especially if you were a boy in high school. Um, so I don't know if you guys remember, you saw Seinfeld. That show was in from it started in 1990 to 1998. So right around when computers was starting to get popular, and George was selling computers for his father, and Jerry's like, well, what do I need a computer for? And he's like, free porn. And Jerry's like, okay, I'm with you. That makes sense to me. So it did get a bad rap, the metaverse, because of the kind of like the sleazy guys, things like that. But once that stuff gets fixed, it's just the internet, virtual internet. That's pretty much how I would think of the metaverse. I've never gone to the metaverse. I don't have like the headset. I'm curious what it's like. I should buy it actually, but it's kind of like, remember when the internet started, and people bought websites, because initially they weren't websites, right? So like every company wanted to get their own website, um like Ford, like the car company Ford, they wanted Ford.com. They didn't want anybody else to have it. They didn't want to have Ford.net, and Toyota, and every company wanted to have their own website. And that's why people started buying these websites, so then they could sell it to people, like these big companies, like maybe BearStearns.com. You would buy that website. I wish I had the foresight to do that, but so people are snatching up these meta sites in a similar fashion. Okay. Schindler. Google Chief Business Officer Philip Schindler said it's too early in the second quarter to have more specific views. Now, I'm curious. Microsoft. I want to see what they said about their earnings. Okay, here's a press release. Let's go straight to the source. We don't have to listen to other people put their spin on it. Let's read it ourselves. This was released today. Microsoft, at one point, the biggest company in the world. Now it's the third biggest company in the world. Microsoft announced the following results for their first quarter of 2025. Revenue, $70 billion. What was Meta's revenue? $42 billion. It's a lot of revenue for one quarter. 13% increase. If you're double digits, that's good. But at these levels, to be double digits, 70 billion, it's mind-boggling. Operating income, 32 billion, which is up 16% more. You notice that, right? It's more than revenue. So their margins are improving. Net income, 26 billion. Amazing margins, really good margins. That's why companies like this are worth trillions. And that's why a car manufacturer can never be worth trillions, because they don't have margins like this. They converted, of the 70 billion revenue, 26 billion was profit. So that means 44 billion was expenses. So it's either direct expenses from generating the revenue, or operating expenses like marketing or capital expenditures, depreciation, things like that. So their EPS, diluted EPS, is 346, increased 18%. Cloud AI are the essential inputs for every business to expand output, reduce costs, and accelerate growth, said the CEO. Okay, we delivered a strong quarter, 42 billion revenue, up 20% year over year. So this is up 20% year over year. This is 13% quarter over quarter. So this is 13% when you compare it to the fourth quarter of 2024. They're up 20% when you compare it to the first quarter of 2024. Business highlights: revenue in business processes was 30 billion, 10% increase. Microsoft 365 commercial products and cloud service revenue increased 11%. Cloud alone increased 12%. So everything is in the low double-digit range. Revenue in intelligent cloud was 27 billion, up 21%. That's a big jump. Server product and cloud services increased 22%. Revenue, so the PC revenue didn't grow as much. It was 13.4 billion, up 6%. Windows OEM and devices only up 3%. Xbox 8%. But advertising revenue is up 21%. So they're still getting strong advertising revenue. So when a company like Microsoft, Meta, Google, when they're getting advertising revenue, that means companies are doing okay. They have the money to market themselves. It's all a trickle down. When you see companies like this do well, then that means there's millions of companies that are doing well. Microsoft returned 10 billion to shareholders in the form of dividends and buybacks. I invest purely in companies that have strong DEI and inclusion programs. DEI. What's DEI stand for? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Nothing wrong with that. So let's see. Okay, here's the quarterly revenue. First quarter of last year, 62 billion. Now it's 70 billion. Operating income is up too, from 28 to 32 billion. Net income is up a lot. So EPS is up 18%. Wow. And they do business all over the world. So foreign currency actually detracted from their revenue. And they still had really good numbers. So here's their biggest is productivity and business processes, intelligent cloud, and personal computing. So intelligent cloud grew the most, 21%. Okay, here's a change by this is interesting, by segment or product. Cloud is up 20%, plus 2% for foreign currency exchange, so 22%. What's the most? Microsoft Azure, that's their cloud platform. Azure is the largest cloud, no, the second largest cloud company in the world. Cloud market share. Amazon, AWS is number one. They're like 30% of the world's cloud computing. This is the future of cloud computing. AWS is 30% of the market. This is fourth quarter of 2024. So it might change, but Azure is 21%. And as you know, it's a pretty big market, cloud computing. That's where all of Amazon's profits are in cloud. It's about maybe 1/5 of their revenue is the cloud computing, but it's half of their profits, or maybe even more, like 60, 70% of their profits. Baba has 4% of the cloud market, Oracle, Salesforce, IBM, and a Chinese giant gaming company, Tencent, 2%. So let's see the income statement. Product revenue Product revenue went down from 17 billion to 15 billion. Services is where all their growth is. It went from 45 to 55 billion. So revenue is up 9 billion. It's all from services. Product revenue is coming down, but much higher margins in service revenue than product revenue. So cost of revenue, 22 billion for the quarter. Operating income, 32 billion. Look how it happened around exactly to 32 billion. It's pretty interesting, right? That's up from 28 billion. Let's look at their margins. Revenue, gross profit, operating income. I wonder why it didn't. I wonder why the formatting didn't work. That's weird. Revenue in first quarter of 2024, 61,858. Why does it keep doing this? That's so weird. I think I know why. This is weird. I'm having a formatting problem. I don't understand why it's doing this. 21,919. That's so weird. Okay. So their gross profit margin, some Excel difficulties. It went from 26% last year to 31% this year. And their operating margin went from 39% to 46%. So margins blew up a lot. It's always like that. You always, no matter how, even if you make money, you're just mad you didn't buy enough. So it's like you're never happy. That's what I've come to realize. Yeah, I'm still pissed off that I sold my Palantir. But do you ever do that? Like you invest like $10,000, right? And then and you sold it at 12,000. So So you bought 10,000. So you profited 2,000. So at the time, you're like, okay, at least I made money. And then like a couple months go by, and the stock goes up a lot, and you could have sold it at $18,000, and you're just pissed off, like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why'd I sell it? Why'd I sell it? But then a few months later, it goes down. Like it goes down to like 7,000. So now you're happy. You're like, oh, thank God I sold it for 12,000. I made a $2,000 profit, and I didn't hold it, because if I would have held it, I would have lost $3,000. That happens a lot, like, because you can't time it perfectly. And like you didn't know it was going to keep going up, but you did know it wasn't that good of a company. So eventually it did come down to where it belongs. But as you follow it, you just get pissed off. But this happens a lot. Like I'm like, oh, if I didn't sell it, I could have made $6,000 more dollars and sold it for $18,000. And then it goes down the stock a lot. And then you probably wouldn't have sold it at $18,000. That's the thing. You probably would have held on to it, and it would have went all the way down to below your 10,000. But let's see what else. These are the big gainers for the day. I'm looking for companies that I'm familiar with. The Chef's Warehouse, kind of familiar with them. Let's see the biggest losers for the day. Gen DX, $2 billion market cap, went down 43%. A Gene DX. Bausch & Lomb went down 16%. Camping World, that's Marcus Lemonis's company. Snap down 12%. Supermicro. Who is following Supermicro? They went down a lot. They went down nearly 20% at one point. They end up going down 12%. But I remember when it shot up to 113, and then they had that whole accounting fiasco where their auditor quit, and then it really came down a lot. And some people sold it when it got low, and then it started creeping back up. But I knew it was going to come back down. It's just a matter of time. Good companies go up, bad companies go down. In this case, it was actual fundamentals. They okay. Supermicro dropped 12%. Data center hardware peers, yeah. This article's not that good. I can't really even read it. Brad Smith. Okay, Supermicro stock nosedives during extended trading after the server maker reported weak. Right, they haven't released their financials, but they gave a little information saying it's going to be weak. They did hire a new auditor because their the previous audit accountant quit, but they did find someone to take over. It's a Belgium-based company. So maybe it's not so bad after all at that company. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it. I have zero faith in management. Their intercompany transactions look bad to me. Family involved in subs. It's odd. It's very incestuous. Lots of red flags. I guess you could have done well if you're a bottom feeder, because it did come down a lot to below 20, but it's going to come back down again because I don't think they're putting up great numbers. It's closer to Enron than Nvidia. Definitely. Yeah, they regressed from third quarter 24 to fourth quarter, and I think what's the revenue forecast for the first quarter? I think it's pretty low. Okay. So 4.5 billion of revenue, which is a pretty big drop from fourth quarter 2024. It is higher than last year. I'll give them that, but yeah, they're kind of pulling back. Yeah, Meta's going up after hours. It's exciting. It's good to see these big companies and Microsoft doing well, because tariffs are just noise. When companies report their actual numbers, that's when we know if tariffs are affecting them or not. So obviously they're proving otherwise. Okay. Well, only a few people here now, so I guess I'll log off. I just want to talk about Meta and Microsoft and share the good news. Okay. Well, thanks for joining. Thanks, Victor. Let me know if you want to do a live stream soon. I'm definitely up for it. Okay. Talk to you later.